All right, guys, Ask Lair's Training here. So I had a couple of clients recently that has an injury, and an injury specifically with their hand, sprained wrist. One guy's got a broken thumb. Another guy has a jammed thumb. And they're asking what they can still do, if they can still do something better, to make themselves better. And here's the problem that I run in with a lot of guys is kids think that just because you have an injury, you can't do anything. Like, you injure your upper body, you can still train your lower body in the weight room. You can still do lower body work hitting. You can still do lower body work pitching. You injure your lower body, you can still work on upper body stuff. The problem is that when you get an injury, you have to find a way to work around it. Whatever the drill is, whatever the focus is, you have to find a way. If you want to get to a next level or another level, when I say next level is like, you've got to move up in the world from year to year. Like, the easiest way for me to describe this is, you know, I got my 4 rating system I joke around with kids. I got shit, I got suck, I got average, good, and great. If you're a shit, you got to work to suck. If you're a suck, you got to go to average. And then from average, good, and obviously great. I can thank Dave Tate for that. I heard him say that, guy that runs Elite FTS. I heard that saying, it was money. I've used it ever since. So specifically, if you have an injury with your hand, or a jammed thumb, broken finger, whatever, maybe you got a broken arm and you're in a cast, you can still go to your lessons with your coach, or go to your team training, or your coach's training, whatever you're doing, you can still do work as a hitter. You got to understand what to do and how to do it though. So I always tell guys when they come to see me as a hitter, I go, if I could only see you for one day, one of the main drills that I would have you do is one-arm drills. We do bottom hand, we do top hand, okay? All the time. I'm a big believer of a lot of bottom hand work, a little bit more than top hand, just because it helps us with direction toward the ball. It helps us with strong, because most guys, if they're swinging, their dominant hand's on top. Some guys are different. Obviously, the Josh Hamilton's of the world, there's a little bit different guys that have their dominant hand on the bottom. But usually that top hand, the one they throw with, is their dominant hand. They're a lot more powerful with that hand, where this one's weak and they kind of want to stab at the ball. Especially with lead arm, they want to go down like this a lot, as opposed to being on plane and staying through the ball. So, say for instance, I got a jammed thumb or a broken right hand. All I need to do, get myself set up, is I'm just going to do one-arm drills. And you can do these off the tee, you can do these on soft toss, you can do these on screen toss. Everything that I'm focusing on, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. So, say you're a guy that likes to pull off the ball, okay? Now, actually, I'll start over from the beginning. Doing a basic one-arm drill. So if you're doing a basic one-arm drill, you get your hand set up like you normally would. Take the opposite hand off. You're going to wrap this hand across the chest. Load and separate, and work on your swing path straight from there. Okay? Basic one-arm drill. Everybody knows this. Probably a lot of people watching this have done this before. You can do this on tee work, soft toss, screen toss, as well as BP. I've had guys, like for instance, I had a guy, and I'm going to tell you why this is so important. I had a kid that was injured for probably 3 months last year, okay? All we did was one-arm drills for 3 months, okay? The same thing happened to me. I do this with all of my guys, because it happened to me when I was a sophomore in high school. I broke my hand, I was out 6 weeks. A freshman in high school, broke my hand, I was out 6 weeks, and I worked on hitting just one arm only. I got to the point where I was swinging my regular bat at the bottom and controlling the regular bat, my 33-30 at the bottom of the bat, and hitting lasers with it. That's how strong I got it in just 6 weeks by doing it every single day. I'm using a smaller bat, so if you're doing one-arm drills, grab a T-ball bat, a Little League bat, something smaller, small barrel, so you can work on controlling it. You want it to be lighter. As you get better at this, you can progress to heavier bats, all the way to where you're using your actual own game bat, choked up, and then obviously you can do it holding at the bottom. I've heard of guys cutting fungos to use it for a longer barrel. There's a lot of different variations you can do it. I personally like to start with a light bat, and then you can use those hitting weights, start putting weights on and make it heavier, all the way up to building your normal bat. So, basic one-arm drill just showed you. Now, if I want to get a little bit more in depth of what I'm doing, if I'm a guy that pulls off the ball, okay? If I'm a guy that does I change my spine angle, I do a lot of lateral side bending too early in my swing. Because there's a little bit of side bend in a lot of elite swings, but a lot of guys, they'll start their swing path, they'll get their weight on their toes as opposed to their heels, they'll start leaning over and falling over the plate, and then boom, they're getting this loopy swing, and you see the lead arm action going like this a lot. We don't want that in our swing. We don't want a loopy swing. We want to be direct and short to the ball. We want to be short to it, long through it, or as like you've seen in my hitting video, right? down to it, up through it. Got to understand what the concept is behind this, okay? And what I mean by that is we want to be direct to the ball, okay? Short to it, long through it, or down to it, up through it is the same thing. It means the same thing in my eyes. I've used different analogies for different kids so they're on the same page with me. What I mean is I want to be direct to the ball. I don't want to be down, out, around. I want to be direct to the ball on the line. Through, the barrel's going to be in the zone. Behind that bicep shoulder, it's going to go right through the zone. I want that back path, okay? So when I go over things, and when you watch other people's videos, you might hear somebody say something, but you got to understand the concept behind it and understand that there's semantics where people are not going to be communicating on the same page. There's always some fat boy watching a video and they're like, oh, that's not how you do it. Or some coach that thinks he's got it all figured out. Remember, different drills work for different people. There's different strokes for different folks. So this drill right here is the basic standard. You can't see my feet in the video, but basically I'm going to keep my heels on the ground. I'm going to get my stance a little bit wider, okay? Almost like you're drilling your ankles into the ground. And I'll do another video of this in depth of why I like doing this with two hands. But say I'm doing it with one hand today. All I'm going to do is I'm going to work separation back, just hand back. Quick line drive swing from there. I want to keep my heels. Now, granted, remember, you can't see. Let's see if I can back up a little bit so you can get an idea. My feet, okay, are on the ground. When I take this hack, I'm keeping them on the ground. You notice I'm still actually moving hips, but I'm not spinning off or moving all over the place. This is a great drill for guys that pull off the ball, over-rotate, overly internally rotate so they don't, spin off from that position. Guys that do that, finish outside from here. This is good to work sequence of the swing. The hips are still working, and then the lead arm will go from there. You can do the same thing with the top hand. If the lead arm's broken or busted up, wide base here, nice and smooth, working quick to the ball. That was a nasty rollover right there. But nice and smooth on the line drive through the ball. Quick, through the zone, okay? Now, when I get into a position and I want to work on that top hand, I was still pulling off a little bit right there, kind of going around from that. So with me, I've had 3 shoulder surgeries, so my top hand swing is very weak lately. What I want, if I want to work on, say my left hand's injured, I'm going to work on my lead arm being straight. So a lot of guys, when you swing, you'll see a lot of guys, they'll pull the front side, yank, and they'll come into here. We don't want that. So most guys, they'll make that mistake. Hands go out and around, and they hook that ball. We don't want that. We want to be direct to the ball. The knob cuts that ball in half, the barrel follows. So when I'm nice and smooth, good line drive swing. Like that was my best rep. The other reps were not very good. So if I want to work on staying square to the plate as long as I can, here's another drill you can do. You got an injured hand, okay? Lead arm is locked out. We want the shoulders to go up, more at a 45-degree angle in this direction. We don't want to go out. So we're going to be right here. Lead arm is locked out in front. Load separate. Working through the zone right here. The arm and the shoulder goes up, okay? Same thing again. Lead arm is here. Load separate. Boom. Now I'm getting a good rhythm for it. Now I'm getting some good swings. The first ones, I felt myself kind of get out around and kind of go a little bit of a hook in my swing. So I'm here, locked out, load separate. Boom. Now I'm getting rhythm. Now I'm feeling really good. So right there, you can do a basic one-arm drill, okay? You can do no stride, feet glued to the ground, heels glued to the ground, working the hips through so you're not pulling off. Another drill where you're working top hand, where you're staying in the zone for as long as you can, teaching the front shoulder to do the proper movements. On top of this, you could do med ball throws, med ball resistance throws if the thumb or something's not broken, if the cast isn't something where you can't at least put a little bit of weight on top of it. You can do fence net drills. Like if you watch my hip rotation drill, I got a video from quarantine. We work on teaching you how to fire the hips and actually get you working the hips first. It's really good for guys to get a feel of the upper half a little bit delaying when we're actually swinging. Now what I mean by that is the shoulder staying on, we're working the hips, but we're not flying open. Watch that hips video if you're interested in this. So, guys, I can't stress enough the importance. One-arm drills, top hand, bottom hand drills. They are a game changer in developing young hitters, game changer in developing, high school hitters. Ask Laird's Training, what can I do to work around injuries? This is a perfect episode for you guys that are watching. If you have an injury with a top hand, bottom hand, again, if you're injured and your legs are hurt, I'll add one more thing. I was gonna mention this. You can sit on a chair, okay? stationary, and this is a low box, but I can just sit right here and work on my back path from that position. I'll step out so I'll make this a little bit more realistic since I was using a midget bucket right there. So if I'm here, I want to get some extra reps in, I line up this tee, boom, right on the plate. Okay, I had a kid do this last year for a couple months, had some knee injuries and needed to work around some things, so we worked on here, opened the chest up a little bit, now we're just working hands back, hard line drive swings. Say I got a cast on my lead leg, I got plenty of work I can do right here. Separation, working through, that's a little bit of a pop-up. Ain't gonna finish the video with a pop-up, right? Gains only here. Boom, there's my line drive field. So, bottom half, got an injured leg, casting a leg, seated swings. Upper half, got a broken hand, light up the one-arm drills. I mean, there's a bunch of other drills I can throw in here, but these are the main ones I like using with guys. Get a feel for it, get a rhythm for it. Remember, if you're struggling with this, good. That means you need to get better at it. Like you saw my first couple swings on my top hand, I rolled over on the pitches. Get a feel, get in the habit of it, and once you get those reps in, now you're feeling good, now you're getting the rhythm in, you get better and better at it. As you get better off the tee, start doing more soft toss. You do more soft toss, start doing more screen toss. Make it hard on you. You're constantly progressing. All right, so how to work around injuries, that's Laird's training. We'll see you guys later.